Hello and welcome to In the Envelope, an awards podcast. I am your host, Jack Smart, awards editor at Backstage. I'm here to give you a front row seat to the industry's most exciting awards races. Who is in the running? What makes awards-worthy film and television? How can you, listener, win a statue of your own? We're sitting down with actors to get that insider's perspective on these questions and more, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a tantalizing glimpse in the envelope.
Whatever you can do to keep your mind in a state of play and exploration. It's like you have to find how this audition experience can feed you. These are all bricks that are building you up, elevating you to that one audition where, you'll be so just there.
I have to start out with an admission.
Uh-oh. Uh-huh.
I haven't seen Get Out yet.
Are you serious?
I know.
Wait, what?
I know.
Wait a minute.
I know that's shameful. I know it is.
No,
I know. I've had the screener for months as well.
But it's available on Amazon Prime, I think.
It's on HBO, I think.
Gosh.
The thing is with this film, it looks amazing, but it's not one of those ones where you just sort of stick it on and check your phone and half watch it and have your dinner or whatever. It's one that you really want to commit to, and I've just haven't had that window, right?
But what Betty Gabriel and I, the star of this movie, what Betty Gabriel and I just talked about in our interview was that it's actually the kind of movie that you should have seen it in theater.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little late to the party.
You are. I can't believe this.
I know. Sorry.
She even says, "Shame on you" to the people who haven't seen this yet. Oh, so you've been spoiled on this movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Of what happens?
Well, actually, I don't know. I know there's a big twist, and I think everyone's aware of the fact that there's a twist, but I'm hoping that's not going to take away from it.
Well, maybe this is helpful because I don't know what listeners who haven't seen this movie. Listeners, if you haven't seen the movie, you should before you hear
Shame on you.
Shame on you. Shame on Jamie. But also, there's still Betty Gabriel. She had some wonderful... She had just such an interesting perspective on acting because this is a fascinating movie and a fascinating role for her to talk about acting. And
I think she's an interesting guest on the show, considering who she's sandwiched between in terms of the people who we're having on this show.
Yes.
We have people who have decades worth of experience and,
yes, indeed.
Oscars and Emmys and things like that. But so I think her perspective is really fascinating this week.
Totally. I'm glad we got a breakout star on this run of the podcast because she is in a movie that's up for Best Picture at the Oscars and Best Original Screenplay and Best Director and Best Actor. Pretty much the four biggest ones.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, helpful to hear from someone who has never done an award season before, who's never been in this media spotlight before, but who everyone is suddenly talking about.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. She's totally extraordinary in this film. We got off the rails a little bit. We talked a lot about politics.
Yes.
Left-wing listeners should get a lot out of this interview. We also talked about her auditioning for the role in Get Out while she was in the middle of nowhere in Cusco, Peru, of all places. That's an interesting place to self-tape, isn't it?
A place that you've been.
I have. I've been there. I never thought I'd be able to talk about it, let alone on the podcast, but she was a delight. She really is. Also, this is the first interview we've had where we also featured a dual interview with her little puppy.
Yeah.
Her little doggy who was in the studio just now. Really, really cute. I'm excited for this. I'm curious to hear what people think.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the interview and then watching the movie.
Yes. Again, shame on you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
It's fine. It's fine. But you should see it before the Oscars. The Oscars, again, for listeners, are March 4th. And if you did not hear any of our other interviews with our other Oscar contenders of the year, go back and listen to the likes of Gary Oldman and Allison Janney and Patrick Stewart and Kumail Nanjiani. Those are some great... I'm really proud of this run of episodes. This is awesome.
Yeah. And congratulations to you for booking these amazing people and conducting fantastic interviews. So
thank you.
Well done, Jack.
It's been fun. And now we have this episode and we have one more in this kind of season. And then we're doing the same thing for Emmys. We are gearing up for TV already.
Yep.
Even though that's not until summer. The awards season never ends.
The whole train starts up again.
That's right. Well, let's get to it. Betty Gabriel is the star of Universal Pictures' Get Out, the comedy-horror-social satire from now Academy Award-nominee Jordan Peele. As the mysterious maid Georgina, she blew audiences away and established for herself her big break as an actor. Get Out has won its fair share of accolades throughout this film award season and is now up for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Here it is, our interview with Betty Gabriel. Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
You've had quite a year with this movie.
Yeah. It's like, what is happening?
It's like, what? Especially has there been another kind of surge of like press and events in the last month? With the awards?
It's just been pretty nonstop since January 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And did you have any idea that was going to happen when you first signed up for this movie? And
no, not when I first signed up, but when I saw it, I thought, wow, this is something.
Yeah, cool.
And I had no idea that it was going to come together that way. I mean, I knew it was going to be on. Wait, are we starting?
I think we have, yeah. Totally on board, yeah.
Oh, great.
Welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I knew from the initial read that it was something, very unique, something that,
right.
I don't think I've ever seen before on screen. So, but you still never know how things are going to
Right. I'm sure that's true of a lot of the scripts that you look at or the projects you sign up for. You don't know how they're going to be received, how they're going to be made.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peele was a first-time director.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Could you tell that he was a first-time director? Or
not at all.
That's what I figured.
He knew exactly what he wanted. Right. And I think, in my limited experience, I don't think that's necessarily a tell of a good director. I'm guessing directors have all kinds of as many different personalities as we all have. There's different directing styles. But he definitely carried himself with confidence and knew what he wanted and was able to talk to us, or at least me. I can't speak for everyone, but he was able to talk to me in a way that, I could tell that he wanted to bring out the best in all of us and without pushing or, he was just very positive.
And did you get the sense that because of his experience as a performer that informed his
directing?
Definitely.
Yeah, and he would just, perform. He would just pull out these impersonations. Just
his impersonations are insane.
They're so good.
He transforms. I don't know how he does it.
And he just does it like that.
Yeah.
He does not need it. I need to do vocal warm-ups.
Yeah, cool.
I need to
we'll get into that. Yeah.
Release my neck.
Yeah. That's so cool. How did you originally get involved? Did you audition for this part?
Yeah, okay. I auditioned.
What do you remember about that process?
I remember that I got an email when I was in an internet cafe in Peru.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was in the mountains of Cusco.
I got this sweater in Cusco.
Oh, really? No way.
Yeah, I lived in Peru for 4 months.
Really?
Yeah.
How amazing is it?
Yeah. It never comes up in any conversation. It's funny. It's going on the podcast. Anyway, you were saying?
So you kind of know this sort of, the
isolation.
Situation.
You're in the mountains.
Yeah. And not too many people speak English.
Nope. Right.
And my managers are, I told them, my manager and agents, I was like, I'm going to be in the mountains. Don't bother me. I didn't say it like that, but that was the gist of it. And it was over Christmas break. I thought, I'll be fine. This
was vacation.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm on vacation, guys.
Yeah.
Don't send me anything. But of course they sent me this, and I was like, well, okay. But I can't. I don't have a smartphone. I don't know how I'm going to get this in.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I don't think I can do this. And that night, I could not sleep. I was tossing and turning in that little hostel that I was staying in. And I woke up and woke up from not sleeping and sent them an email saying, I'll get this in no matter how. I don't know how it'll happen, but I'll get it in. And miracle after miracle kept happening that allowed me to. Yeah, I'm literally met with a documentary filmmaker who had her own camera through people that I met traveling, like Facebook conversation led to this person.
Whoa,
anyway, it's a really long story.
You went to great lengths to get this in.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cool.
And it took like a full 48 hours of just like being on a bus going to the next village.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to go to Arequipa.
Really yes.
So, yeah, I fast forwarded through so many things. I was going to go to Lake Titicaca. And I think that's there, right?
Yeah, or it's near there. I went to Arequipa, yeah.
Yeah, so I took a bus from Cusco all the way to Arequipa. Wow. I love talking to you because you know these things.
I do know. It was a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so it's like.
Did you do the Inca Trail?
I did the Salcantay Trail, which is, I guess it's connects to the Inca Trail at some point, but no, I didn't do that one.
All the way to Machu Picchu? Or?
Yeah, yeah. It was like 4 or 5 days. I was limping into Machu Picchu.
Oh, okay.
Because my boots were not.
This was with a tour group, though?
No.
This is on your own?
This is on my own.
You're hardcore.
I'm an idiot because I just thought, I'm gonna, have an adventure
in nature. Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I mean,
hard.
Yeah, it's. I think if you do want to do it by yourself and you're a woman, it's best to stick to the parts where groups are going to meet up.
Yeah.
Oh, at least at nighttime. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had some sketchy moments.
That's so interesting. You were in that mindset when you were sending in your audition tape.
Yeah.
In this freewheeling travel mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that happened. That was I did that the first week. I hiked to Machu Picchu.
Oh my gosh.
I lost it was so gross, but I lost a toenail.
Oh no.
That it was that hard. It was that
I love this.
Traumatizing.
Yeah.
It didn't come off that's in that movie with Reese Witherspoon in
Wild.
Wild, yeah.
That same thing happens I think.
Yeah. It doesn't happen like that though. It just turns
That's right.
black. And then a month is so gross.
No, I know. This happened. Yeah, this has happened.
A month or two later, it'll fall off. But it grows back.
We don't need toenails. They're completely unnecessary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little scary, but mine did grow back. So, and I'm happy it did. But you're right. They're
not necessary.
Purely cosmetic.
Completely. I can't believe that's how so you were tossing and turning though because had you received the sides, you didn't have the whole script.
No, I didn't have.
But you knew it was Jordan Peele.
Script.
You knew the premise, and you had some sides for
yes, and
for Georgina.
Yeah, I think at some point I did get the script, but I don't remember if that was before or after the audition.
Well, I'd be so curious to see what was reading the script for the first time like. What do you remember about that?
I mean, I just kept wondering what is wrong with her. What is wrong with him? What's wrong with Walter? What's wrong? And I think I don't know. I just thought, wow, this is so. There's just that built-in cliffhanger of a kind of what is this? What is going on? What does that mean? What does this mean? And then I got to the auction part, and I was like,
that's when something really.
I was like, this is not funny.
Nope.
This isn't funny at all because it's not because there's this a skit where they auction themselves on Key and Peele.
Oh yeah.
But it's them,
Oof,
that's
and the darkest.
Yeah, and it's this is kind of funny, but not, but funny.
You're is this inspired by that? Or?
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I was like, this, I guess maybe, I don't know, because this is them, as the slaves, but this is a bunch of white people.
Yeah.
Auctioning
with his
off.
Picture.
And that just did not sit right with me, but obviously that was the point.
Well, and that's so fascinating to me because as one of the actors who as you say, it's also driven by this one twist. Spoiler alert, I guess, for anyone who hasn't seen this movie, but it's been out for a year. I really hope people have... Shame on you if you haven't seen it. But the whole movie is kind of... And all of the themes are embedded in that plot twist. And your character is very much one who has to... Or you as an actress, I guess, have to have the twist before the audience figures it out. So you're reading the script for the first time is capturing that first-time experience for the audience.
Yeah.
But it's the only time you're going to know you're going to be in the dark about Georgina before you figure it out.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like that... Did you have to put yourself back in the mindset of your first read in order to be like, I need to not reveal too much to the audience or like specifically keep the audience in the dark long enough?
I mean, I think there, she doesn't say much. So
true,
there's really, it
but
would
that almost
be,
makes it harder for you.
Yeah. I think it was just so, I just really, thanks to Jordan's direction, really leaned into the fact that she's actually the matriarch in that household, and that's her house. And she, cool. Has that power and is a bit drunk on that power. And there's no matter what happens, if I give it away, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He can't leave. He is trapped there, as is the audience. I mean, of course, you can always leave. I've walked out of a movie every now and then. But it only happened one time because I was getting motion sickness. Anyway.
Thanks.
But, the audience is there. They're trapped in the theater.
They're trapped. Totally.
And it's like, I don't know. It was fun.
That does explain.
See,
I hadn't thought about the fact that she's the matriarch, because at the very end, she becomes very violent and she attacks him.
Well, yeah, her house, her family, they're gone.
Yeah. But you have to play two characters, essentially. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're playing two completely different people fighting for control.
I mean, primarily, I was given the direction primarily that she is, the matriarch figure.
Elder white lady.
Yes. And every now and then, and it's pretty clear when those moments are, she is battling within herself with the other part of her, the real part of her. And I really, in my preparation or in my off time, I would just kind of have that sort of weird, romance between them. It sounds so weird to say, but I had a very sort of like dance with them within myself, within my, room, where I would just meditate on how much the matriarch, the white lady, loves this woman that she's overtaken. And
wow.
And how she's just having to go along with it and almost. So another thing I did was listen to a podcast on Martin Pistorius. There's also like a TED Talk that he does. And if I highly recommend listening to that, because that was pretty evocative, that idea of just being trapped in your body and not being able to signal to anyone that you're in there and that you're very conscious and that was I dealt with that and worked with that as well.
I mean, it must be so much fun as an actor for you to have those meditative thoughts. Yeah.
Let me tell you,
you had fun with this part.
I had the most fun, and I don't, and I might not ever play never say never, but I might not ever play a part like this ever again.
Well, it's such a bizarre world, as you say.
Yeah, and that's the primary reason why I chose this part. I actually, first time in my life, in my career, had to choose between two jobs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And the other job was with a very, very well-known, very respected, very, Oscar film-nominated director. And that would have been a great job. And everyone at the time was like, yeah, you should definitely work with her.
Do that one. Okay.
But I thought, it just kept me up at night, and I was like, oh, I can't pass on this role.
Right.
because of that reason, I felt like it was never going to come to me again.
Yeah, I've heard that. We've heard that on this podcast where actors have been in that position where they really have to listen to your gut.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is the path seems really clear.
Yeah.
But if it's the project that's keeping you up at night, that is probably the one that's going to yield some result.
Yeah.
Like you said, you didn't expect a bunch of Oscar nominations for this movie when you first like read this weird, disturbing, funny script.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's one of those movies that, first of all, I've never had an experience like it in terms of sitting live in the theater. I think everyone can agree that like seeing Get Out with other people in the theater is a way of enhancing the experience of seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
I recommend that over seeing it like just solo on a laptop or something.
Right.
People are vocal. I mean, people are freaking out at the end of this movie. I just think it's extraordinary. I think that your work is amazing. And I want to get back into this, like, the no scene especially,
right,
which is what everybody talks about. But, like, what goes through your head? Like, how do you tackle something like that? Like, because, like, as we've been saying, the whole plot twist, you've got themes of assimilation from Black culture into white culture. You've got themes of slavery, of, like you said, not being able to have control of your own body. And all of that is happening in the scene where all she's saying is no.
Yeah.
Are you trying to balance all of those themes in your head, or are you more just like, what are the practical steps I need to do to make this happen?
I mean, I definitely wasn't, writing a PhD thesis on
right?
Because
that's like our job. That's like the critics and the journalists. Like that's our job is to like interpret, or as audience members, we're just supposed to interpret that.
Yeah.
But your job as the actor is to do the thing.
Right. I mean, I was really, because when you're in front of a camera,
yes,
and there's a crew, and there's Daniel, and there's this wig.
Oh, we'll talk about the wig too.
Yes. All these elements are present. And I mean, I really was just thinking, focus and and find that internal struggle, that sort of internalized war that's going on in that moment with her. And yeah, and we did it several times, so I felt like more and more I was able to like really just like zero in on that feeling, and also I think having someone be there, like as close as we are, looking into their eyes and having them look into your eyes, it's that can really. Have you seen? I haven't seen it myself, but I've seen like the trailer for that documentary about the artist Marina.
Abramovich.
Yes.
Because her thing is she stares into people's eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine what Daniel Kaluuya was feeding you.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like looking at me like, what the hell's happening? I mean, but like he's this. He's a great. That's not to downplay what he was doing, but he was.
Oh, absolutely.
Just there, and it's such a like if we were just to like sit here and stare at each other's eyes in silence,
totally,
things would happen.
Focus, exactly. Yeah,
but
it is the kind of thing that you needed multiple takes to get to zero in.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the kind of scene that you get on the first try.
Right,
you understand exactly what's going on. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
fortunately.
Is there also an element of like you don't want to give away the secrets of your acting, like in a scene like that? Like I feel like, do you ever feel like as an artist you're like, I don't want a magician never reveals his secrets?
Yes, I always say that, because I get asked this a lot, and I mean, I tend to say that, and I don't feel like I gave anything away. But I think it's even still what I said. I don't. That was like 2 years ago too.
Right.
I don't actually know what I remember. What
and you're not taking to a journal after every take and like.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I remember was that was kind of the sort of. Sorry, I'm like nervously playing with this wire.
No, it's fine. I'm taking you back to that scene and the
Yeah.
tension.
I know. I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
No,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because you had to go to a dark place
Mm-hmm.
to play these two characters at war with each other. Oof.
Yeah. But I'm dark. So it's I mean, it's true. Like I spend a lot of my time being haunted by haunted horror
Yes.
movie. Get it? Haunted just by the actual reality of people being, modern day slaves, and it's I don't know. Not to take it to a dark place, but this morning I was just listening to about the suburb of Syria that got airstrikes, and like there's children just.
Yep.
It's
happening
very
every day.
sad.
Yeah.
It's we live in a pretty beautiful, wonderful world, but there are definitely things that
Totally
can haunt you if you think on them.
And these stories, I think that, you've been in other dystopian sci-fi tinged projects.
My gosh, yeah.
And
Purge. You're talking about Purge.
Purge election years. Was another one that seems like dystopian, but riding that line between like social commentary and satire.
Yeah.
And these stories, why do you think they resonate and matter today,
Because I think we aren't really allowed to dwell on these horrific, dark realities, We're supposed to pretend like everything's fine, like
pretend.
That's
Yes.
Yeah, and this the shooting that happened on Valentine's Day, the shooting that happened in Vegas, but we don't need to change, let's not get carried away and change things and inhibit our freedoms as, citizens of this country. Like I don't know. I don't know how we're doing that, how we continue to say, but that doesn't mean things are wrong, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. Reality and fiction seem to just be like topsy-turvy these days. Like the absurdity of that, like, oh, well, we can't change the status quo.
Right. And
we could.
Right. And I've tried to understand it. I've listened to people talk about it, NRA supporters, and they say, well, if you look at the statistics that more people die by this form, or like more people get guns legally than not, or, all these, they kind of sound good, but and legit, but it doesn't. No, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah,
for me.
Totally. Yeah, I think we need, and the other thing I keep thinking about, and especially with Get Out, is it's also escapism. It's many things, but it's also an opportunity to like sit and breathe with a bunch of people for 2 hours in a movie theater and like have fun.
Yeah,
maybe.
That too.
Because laughter is really important, I think, for delivering
Yes.
messages. And like Jordan Peele had many things to get across. And he did it in a way that it was folded into this story, I think.
Yeah.
And not like spoon-fed to us.
No. And that's, I think, so brilliant. And I can only watch news through John Oliver and like Bill Maher and Jon Stewart when he used to be on.
Yes.
I have to like have laughter.
Yeah.
But like spoonful of sugar, it definitely does help. And so this, when you wrap things up in sort of genre, although it's at times I'm like, this is not, like this is very straightforward, this film. It even with its comedic elements, it's like, it's so well. It's because Daniel grounds it in reality, with his truth and his just goodness. He's like you see a person and you see like, oh, this is a person I can identify with.
Hey, Darky.
Oh, yes.
Paying a visit.
Oh, is he? She.
She. Did I say he? Oh,
no, I say he. Sometimes I'm like, no, she. And so other people will be like, oh, how old is he?
Talk to me about the wig.
Oh, the wig.
I don't even know what question to ask about the wig, but what is it? How did you construct this character with that? As one of the tools in your...
Well, there's a lot to be said about wig acting.
Yes.
And it's, I think I did another job before, or was it after? I also did Good Girls Revolt, and I wore a wig on that for that too.
Of course. The 60s.
So
look.
yeah. It's actually pretty great. I highly recommend it for most, if not all, actors to try wig acting.
Yeah, because it kind of makes you transform. And,
yeah. But, with Get Out, I didn't know I was going to be wearing a wig until the day before I worked, where we did the hair and makeup test. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Like I said, this was 2 years ago. I don't quite remember.
Yeah, totally.
But, I was like, this just got really interesting.
Because you were kind of thrown for a loop.
Yeah, and I was like,
but what kind of wig? Like, how is it going to...
Yeah, and I put it on, I was like, but it took some getting used to, yes. But then, and I was kind of like, oh my God, am I going to look like such an asshole? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, of course.
See,
that's interesting too, because I always wonder, does self-consciousness play into your acting?
With me, yes, all the time.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
And wig or no wig, I'm just like, oh my God,
how do I look?
Yeah. So, but that wig helps so much with the character, and seeing it on screen, I'm like, yeah. Yeah, because it just takes it to that place. With this character, it was great because I felt like I got to live on this almost other plane, in the way I had to act, but also in the way I could just move through that world. I felt very much like a sort of that weirdo over there,
There's definitely that weirdo
a twat?
quality. Yeah, there's definitely
that weirdo over there.
As an audience, you're sitting there with that's a red flag. And I don't know what kind of red flag it is, but her existence, there's something very off. Maybe it's funny. Maybe that we'll learn about her and it's going to be some funny twist. Maybe it's really serious, but I don't know. What exactly is she hypnotized?
Yeah.
And she kind of is. And
sure.
But like you said, though, and then a reveal just makes it all so real. Kind of brutally real.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because the wig comes off. And that, yeah. I love that the wig comes off like that. And
interesting. So you didn't know that was going to happen either, but the day before you're shooting because you didn't know there was going to be a wig.
Yeah.
So then the wig coming off.
Yeah. I mean, that all kind of happened. I didn't know it was going to come off at all, and then we were in the car and we were working it out, and I was like, oh cool, okay.
Yeah.
And
that says a lot.
Yeah.
That carefully manicured, she's watching herself in the mirror, she's touching it. I can't believe what you said about the fact that there's almost a twisted romance of some sort between these two characters you're playing.
Oh yeah.
That's where this movie is such a perfect example of what actors do to prepare and put into their characters and what the audience perceives, and how those can be different things. Those can be the same, but with any good piece of art, it's about how you react says more about you than about the art, and you can learn more about yourself.
Yes,
by being what do I think Georgina is?
Yeah,
or what's going on with her?
Yeah, and that's another reason I don't really like to talk about, particularly with this role in this film, because I think that robs people of the ability to interpret it for themselves and to sort of, I think that's what matters most, is how does this make you feel? What does stimulate in your mind? What do you think she represents? But that being said, I'll answer questions, and I have, I think she represents indoctrination. I'll go in sometimes because it's, but there's so many more answers, and it does depend on who you are as an individual,
And as an actor, you have to make choices. You can't just be I'm going to play this so that it could be interpreted in 7 different ways. On some deep level, you have to be I have to make this choice.
Yeah.
And maybe that specific choice that I'm making can be interpreted by others in 7 different ways.
Yeah.
But for me, you're one character fighting with another inside your head, and you have your specific mindset to get there. Those meditations.
Oh, yeah.
Get inside your head during those meditations. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I say romance, but but I think there is a weird hello. Hello, Coco. Coco Pebbles, everyone. She's she's a new addition to my family. Yes. Yes, she's like, enough about her.
Enough about her.
Let's talk about me and my life story. What was I saying? Oh, this idea of like, it was more so like the love and romance. You know, that idea, what did Paula Deen say? She was like, oh, she loved the olden days, you know, when you know, black people were, all the waiters were black, you know, like.
In their place,
yeah,
almost.
It's like, I love that old Southern. And we actually filmed this in Fairhope, Alabama, so that old Southern charm I was just like, surrounded. It was like thick in the air.
Wow.
And it was lovely, I gotta say. Like, it's such a like quaint town that has very weird ties to their civil, you know, civil
Talk about haunted.
Confederacy past. Yeah. It's very strange. But that sort of dual reality of loving something because you think that it's not worthy, you know, sort of like thin line between love and hate, but like, you know, you're not worthy.
Oh my God.
So that idea of I love
like
you because I can own you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Creepy.
I just got chills. That's so cool. That's so interesting. Like, and terrifying.
Yeah. And it's not real love, I guess, but it's, in my mind, it was that romanticizing of it.
Oh my God.
That really helped. I don't know. It helped me.
It's like giving me chills. And you have described Georgina, the white woman, as pure evil.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into that because as you're saying, like, yes, if you romanticize something that you also own, it makes you very morally corrupt. But there's the love there. So are you, does pure evil, how do you play pure evil?
I mean, I think I said that, but I don't know what evil means. I don't, I just kind of said that because when I watch it, and I feel like that whole family, I'm like, evil.
Yeah.
But that's me reacting now. I don't know if I would have said that when I was shooting.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is evil? I don't know. So, I said that, but I think, wait, what was the question again?
Like, what is pure evil, or how do you act? Act someone that despicable?
I think it was just this notion that, adding on to what Paula Deen said. Poor Paula Deen, but she said it.
She inspired you.
She did inspire me because of what she said. That whole idea of like, I remember watching, what was I watching? I think it was like Chelsea lately. She like went to the South in one of her episodes. It was an episode on race, and someone from the South, modern day was like, well, we were actually good to the slaves. We treated them well because they needed to do their job, So
job.
I thought, what good is a broken body? They're not going to work as efficiently as a healthy, happy, quote unquote.
Yeah. This is someone
body.
Today saying that, looking like trying to rationalize.
Yeah. Like it wasn't as bad, So that idea of, I don't know, justifying treating people
anything.
Like they're less than there's something quite. I don't know if it's evil. I don't know. But
right. I don't know
sometimes
either.
I'm like, that's evil. And other times I'm like, that's human nature. I don't know. It's like.
Yeah, wrapped in the best intentions.
Yeah.
And I think that part of what Get Out is trying to say is like sometimes the worst racism is the kind that it's like from liberals. Like the worst is from people who are so blind to their own racism that they think they're saying something nice when they say something like that. Of like, well, back in the day, at least we were nice to them, to our slaves.
Right, yeah.
When like they need to take a step back. But is that pure evil? I don't know. That's just humanity, I guess.
It's something.
I mean, then that's the other thing about this gun control stuff is I just see how people can rationalize anything to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting, but...
Yeah, sometimes I think that's evil.
But we all do it. Yeah. Yeah, and people aren't awake to their own evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think it's tough because, I don't know, I oftentimes find myself going, well, what am I doing that's complicit in, the oppression of other countries or, oil? I don't know. It's just so complicated.
Yeah.
And to say, even though I said it, to say something's pure evil is, I think it doesn't quite capture this whole intricate network of how we've evolved into this, I don't know, capitalist, weird. I don't know. I'm not the most political person, but like way in which we've just become
like empathy or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, boy, I've been thinking a lot about that too.
It's a lot. It's like, how do I...
What
but
can
if I think
I
about,
do?
yeah, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I contribute to charities. I try to like stay somewhat politically aware of what's going on, but it can be paralyzing, that feeling.
Yeah. Of not having control.
Of not being able to do anything, which relates to this character.
Absolutely.
This story.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard too from actors who kind of say if you label a character as just this or just that, but especially if you kind of judge your character and badly and kind of say, oh, well, this character is evil, it's denying them any nuance. It's denying them. I also think it's absolving you. Like I'm thinking about if I react to someone on the right who is very pro Second Amendment or whatever, this is getting so political. Oh my God. I can't, it's not very productive to just say, no, shut up, just your view, you're ignorant, it almost absolves me of having to do the work of like having thorny debates and dealing with the nuance and asking yourself, well, what am I doing that's oppressive, that's contributing to inequality somewhere, somehow in the world?
Yeah, definitely. So I know I said that, but also I think it's kind of fun to play the villain, quote unquote, and she is villainous.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, that's not. I found other qualities to her, but it was kind of fun to play her as a villain, as the sort of. You're fucking... Am I supposed to swear?
You can swear.
Okay,
we'll just bleep you.
You're fucking caught. And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of like relishing and... I don't know. It's just so great.
And like you said, she's the matriarch.
Yeah.
And she's drunk on that power. Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. But she's also the tragic figure. She's both the villain and the tragic figure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
But you're totally right about how, you can't really judge your characters. Like, so... Because, you rob them of
something.
Full,
you want them to be fully fledged people.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. What is next? How do you follow up? You've had several projects that you've done since filming Get Out, obviously, but
yes. I have 2 films that are going to be premiering at South by Southwest.
Oh, cool.
Both? Yeah. They're both Blumhouse gems.
Okay.
They keep me employed. It's nice.
Yeah.
They
cool.
also produce Get Out.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't know. And Purge. So, I've done several films with them now. It's great. So the one is Untitled, directed by Steven Sesko, and then the other one is directed by Leigh Whannell, who did... the Saw and Insidious films, but this is more of like a sci-fi thriller.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you think why has this horror sci-fi bent happened to your career? Is there something about your sensibility, or just that's the rabbit hole you're falling down?
Well, I mean, maybe that's, my dark soul is drawing me to dark stories. But I think, the sort of, brass tacks of it. I don't know. I'm trying to. Sometimes Anyway, I need to read more. Anyway, I think the gist of it is, horror movies don't cost a lot to make, especially, Blumhouse. That's their sort of model. And not to say that, but, a lot of actors of a certain, caliber probably wouldn't work for what I'm happily willing to work for as a new actor. I think a lot of right. I think that's true.
There's
a lot
sort of a stigma.
A lot of actors getting their start probably have been in horror movies.
Totally.
And so
you got to start on the lower budget side sometimes.
Yeah. But
that's not to say something extraordinary can't come of that.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I consider myself so lucky. I mean, it's crazy. I'm almost like, who didn't give you all the money, Jordan? Because this is you're, first of all, brilliant. But, I guess, business wise, it's like, oh, but you're not going to be in it. It's not a comedy. What? That does not compute.
Actually. Yeah.
So I guess that was.
What are you thinking? But it's the highest grossing first time feature of director. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet they're all going, damn it.
And whatever he does next, he's going to have the biggest budget ever. And everyone's going to say yes. And yeah.
I'm all guess. This is all guesses. I don't actually know what happens on the production side of it all.
I even asked his wife if there was going to be a sequel. I was standing next to her at the Writers Guild Awards, where Get Out just won.
Oh yeah,
the biggest award. And we were joking about what questions to ask him in the press room. And I said what's the sequel going to be called? And she said, I don't think there's going to be a sequel.
Oh.
I don't know if that's a scoop, podcast listeners. But I'm very excited to see what he does next. I'm excited to see what you do next, too.
Oh, yeah. There's stuff coming.
Yeah. Because we're Backstage. First of all, did you ever use Backstage for casting notices or anything?
No, but I knew of it. I think maybe I did online, the online version.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
We are always interested in hearing the stories of your working actor days and how you got your start. And do you have any audition horror stories, or you've been in the trenches with the auditions, right?
Yeah. Auditioning is, I don't know. I've been on hundreds and hundreds of them. So, if any did stick out as horrible, I kind of just learned to erase quicker. But I did a lot of theater, and then I went to back to school in New York. I did Juilliard, and then I came here in 2014, and I was, working a bunch of odd jobs. I swear this has a point.
No, yeah.
So I want
to hear about the odd jobs, too.
Yeah. So one of them was, and I'm not going to promote, but one of them was for a delivery app that was just starting. This is 2014, 15. Right. Because I had done a lot of restaurant bar jobs, and I was like, I can't. I'm an actor. I'm gonna do delivery for now, and then I'm gonna see what else other kind of jobs that are more good for where I felt my ego, my artistic nature was. Anyway, so I'm doing this delivery job, which was great. I got to see the city. I got to be oh, this is what's good at this restaurant. And I, delivered balloons and things.
Oh, cool.
So one night I'm delivering from Nobu, very, very delicious sushi place. And I go to this house in the hills, and I open the door, and the person comes to the door, and it's none other than Jordan Peele.
You're kidding. Wait, what?
I kid you not.
And you knew who you watched.
I knew,
Peele,
and I was like, I'm a huge fan of yours. Here's your sushi. Yeah.
This is years before the audition.
Yes. Yeah, this was maybe a year or two before, or maybe a year and a half. Yeah. And that was the first time I delivered to him. The second time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The second time, I sound like such a freak because I'm remembering this, but it was from Village Idiot.
Oh,
And yeah, it was. I was like, hello.
You remember me from the first time, or
No, it was like several months later, so I don't think. And he didn't remember me. Like when and I told him, I was like, I've been to your house. And he was like, And I was like, I was a delivery person. He was like, oh, okay. Well, welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Such a weird world.
So that was so when you got the script when you were in Peru, that was also part of the history of like, oh, well, I've weirdly met Jordan Peele twice.
Yeah. Twice.
It's a small world.
It's a very small world, especially when you're, doing delivery.
Doing the working actor thing. It's inspiring, though. It is inspiring that you could go from delivering his food to being in his movie. And being like a breakout star in one of the biggest hits of the year.
Yes. It can happen.
It can happen, right? What other, it can happen is a great piece of advice or a great piece of inspiration for working actors.
Yeah.
What else do you want them to know, or what do you wish you'd known?
I mean, I think it's just extremely, as crazy as that was, doing delivery after graduating from Juilliard, it's very humbling. I feel like my journey through this world through this career path has been really amazing. I mean, the fact that I got into Juilliard was incredible. But it comes with eating a lot of humble pie.
Yeah.
A lot. And, hundreds of auditions can just wear on you and wear on your sort of feeling of, am I supposed to be doing this, you know? Hundreds, if not thousands of auditions. I've been on so many in pilot seasons, it's like, well, God, I don't want to.
Right.
But, I mean, I guess, I don't know what kept me going, like auditions. And, I'm still auditioning. It's not like I don't have to do that anymore. I'm still auditioning, but it does help to have a bit of success. It does help for sure. But I think just whatever you can do to keep your mind in a state of play and exploration. It's so cliche and corny, I know,
it's great,
but it's true. It's like you have to find how this audition experience can feed you, and how that will then, if you don't get it, great. If you don't get it, great. That's all building up. These are all bricks that are building you up, elevating you to that one audition where you'll be so just there, and because you've had all that experience. And if you're not getting auditions, that's tough. I'm sorry. But it's there. I was doing table reads. I had friends that were in theater from Chicago, and eventually something will come your way, and you have to say yes to it, because even if it's something as insignificant, that's terrible. But even if it's something not going to make your career, like a table read or whatever, it's still worth doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so knowing that there's going to be a lot of humble pie to be eaten is helpful, because that prepares you as an actor for, you do have to know that you're building those bricks. I love that. I love that image. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
That was excellent advice. That was superb.
Okay.
Betty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having us.
We're going to say goodbye.
Okay.
Oh my God, bye, doggy.
Say goodbye.
Listeners, rate, and subscribe for more interviews from the front lines of the industry's awards races. This episode of In the Envelope was recorded at Mark Grouse Studios in Los Angeles. Thank you, as always, to producer, editor, and all-around podcast whiz, Jamie Muffett. You can follow him on Twitter at JamieMusicNYC. You can follow me, Jack Smart, on Twitter at JackSmartWrites. Thank you to the team at Backstage, a.k.a. the most trusted name in casting, Peter Rappaport, Mark Stinson, Francis Ramos, Rawaan Alkhatib, and especially should-be Oscar nominee Kasey Howe. For more awards and industry coverage, head over to Backstage.com. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time for another glimpse in the envelope.
For the NAACPs, I had to, Tashina Arnold went on the red carpet, and then I had to go like after her and her posse.
Yeah.
And like it's the NAACPs. It's like
Her posse.
Pam is queen. She's like she's like black royalty.
Yes.
You know? So the red carpet went crazy, and the cameras are like, snap, 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 Tashina, Tashina. and then it's just like night and day, like, and then it was me, and it was like,
Daddy, Daddy.
No,
You don't
no
have a
one
team,
was
you
like,
have a posse.
I didn't have a team or a posse. I was just like,
There's your humble pie.
humble pie. Okay.